All right, we'll start with on this topic on the Four Noble Truths. We start with a share. We start with the sharing of a screen. Can y'all see? Wait, where's my Zoom? Hold on. Hold on. Can y'all see? Okay. All right. Brother Benny, can you read this for me? Thank you.
The Simsapa Grove. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Kosambi in Simsapa Grove. Then the Blessed One took up a few Simsapa leaves in his hand and addressed the bhikkhus thus: "What do you think, bhikkhus? Which is more numerous, these few Simsapa leaves that I have taken up in my hand, or those in the Simsapa grove overhead? Venerable Sir, the Simsapa leaves that the Blessed One has taken up in his hand are few, but those in the Simsapa grove overhead are numerous. So too, bhikkhus, the things I have directly known but have not taught you are numerous, while the things I have taught you are a few. And why, bhikkhus, have I not taught those many things? Because they are unbeneficial, irrelevant to the fundamentals of the holy life, and do not lead to revulsion, to dispassion, to cessation, to peace, to direct knowledge, to enlightenment, to nibbana. Therefore, I have not taught them. And what, bhikkhus, have I taught? I have taught this is suffering. I have taught this is the origin of suffering. I have taught this is the cessation of suffering. I have taught this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. And why, bhikkhus, have I taught this? Because this is beneficial, relevant to the fundamentals of the holy life, and leads to revulsion, to dispassion, to cessation, to peace, to direct knowledge, to enlightenment, to nibbana. Therefore, I have taught this. Therefore, bhikkhus, an exertion should be made to understand this is suffering. An exertion should be made to understand this is the origin of suffering. An exertion should be made to understand this is the cessation of suffering. An exertion should be made to understand this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Sadhu, Brother Benny. All of y'all can hear me? Okay. Good. Tonight we're going to talk about the Four Noble Truths, and also for the next few talks. Now, just now the sutta was quite a famous sutta. That the Buddha grabbed a handful of leaves in the Simsapa grove, Simsapa leaves or Simsapa trees. Then with the leaves on hand, then he asked the bhikkhus to ask them to discern it out. Which one is more, tree in the forest or tree in the hands? So the bhikkhu replied, the tree in the hands. So too, the Buddha said that the trees, the leaves in the hand is similar to the things that I've taught. A lot of things the Buddha did not teach because they are not beneficial, not conducive for the liberation. So at the end, the Buddha exhorted that we should make the exertion to finally to understand the Four Noble Truths. Now here, here the nature of the Four Noble Truths. It's much more deeper than what we think. So much more deeper. Many of us have listened to this Four Noble Truths again and again. And some of us also may talk about the Four Noble Truths also again and again. But does it, so far have we listened to so many, have it lead us to liberation or dispassion and things like that? Have we reached there? Of course, most of us not yet. Listen and listen, but still neither here nor there. But nevertheless, we are on the way. Nevertheless, we are on the way. Some people more faster, some people slower. But at least we try. Now, in this Four Noble Truths, we're going to give in an overall approach, and to see the different noble truths from the practice, from the practice itself, not just from a talk on a normal Four Noble Truths thing. We're going to dwell into it a bit more deeper. And as the days comes, also as some of the talks where we're going to dwell into the different aspect on the Four Noble Truths, and also we're going to draw out from the things that we have thought before, especially on towards the wrong view, towards the mindfulness thing, all these things we're going to bring them, and then we're going to put them together. So here, the Four Noble Truths, Arya Satya. Arya Satya, Noble Truths. What is the meaning of this noble truth? Why are they noble? Why are they truth? Why are they noble and why are they truth? Here, the truth here, there are two parts of it. The conventional truth and the supramundane truth, or the mundane truth or the supramundane truth. Conventional or mundane here means hasn't come to enlightenment yet. That means while we are still in the Buddha jhana, we are talking about it in that sense. And whereas you have this supramundane, it means that you already have penetrated the actual truth itself, those truth itself. You've seen it with your own clarity of the mind, own developed state of mind. Now, truth here, it means also they are real and they are not unreal as the Buddha, and not otherwise. In the sense that they are here, real means they can be seen not only right here and now, but also from in the past and also in the future. In the past or in the future. These Four Noble Truths, they are inherent in all of us, in a sense, inherent. Therefore, when we develop the mind, we can actually see these Four Noble Truths. Then, so this truth, when we fully penetrated this truth, then we become noble, Arya. Yeah? Now here the word Arya here again means that the person has already penetrated the truth. Yeah? Or also the word Arya also means that the one who discovered it, that's, which is to say the Buddha, is the beginning, the one to discover it. Or the one who being taught by the Buddha, they also discover the truth themselves. Yeah? They see the truth themselves. So once they see the truth themselves, then they are become noble. Yeah? Now, so this noble truth, in that sense, we give an understanding of why this is noble, because this is not just conventional talk. This is a very deep talk, actually, for Four Noble Truth. And the days when we come in, and the talks we come in, as I said, we're going to bring in some of the aspect of a Vipassana aspect, especially where we're going to penetrate into looking in how this Four Noble Truth will make you see a different perspective. How a different way of looking at dukkha, or the origin of dukkha, or the cessation of dukkha, or the way leading to the cessation of dukkha. We're going to see in those part. But tonight is more like give you an overall understanding. To give you an overall understanding, then we will see in the later days, we'll go into it a little bit more deeper. So this noble truth, they are seen by the Buddha, seen by also of course the Pacceka Buddha too, and seen by the disciples of the Buddha, in the sense that those Arya disciples, they've seen this truth itself. Now, then you may ask sometimes, why are they four? Why not six? Why not five? Why not three? Why not two? Why not one? Sometimes we can give all kinds of conventional truth, in the sense that some people said that it is four because that in a way that they are cause and effect. The second one, the second noble truth is the cause for the first truth to arise. Because the origin of dukkha, because of its origin, then you have dukkha. The third and the fourth also, in the sense that cause. The way leading to it, although we over here on the surface level, we say cause, but then Nibbana, there's no cause and there's no effect in the sense, But anyway, it's because of the fourth noble truth that you develop them, then you see the third noble truth in that sense. So here we are. Some people explain it in that way. But Four Noble Truth, the way I look at it is that on the reality level, it will show you as four, not more and not less. That means what I'm trying to say here is that when a yogi, when an Arya yogi, when he sees these Four Noble Truths, now some of them, which is the wisdom is more sharper, then they see this Four Noble Truths like a set of knowledge. A set of knowledge. That means for the short while it arises to show you dukkha. the next knowledge it comes in, it shows you the arising of the dukkha or the cause for the dukkha. Then after it shows you nibbana. Then after it shows you the way leading to the cessation or leading towards nibbana. Because it comes in as a set of actual penetrated knowledge. Not something like you sit down and then the Buddha suddenly think about it, suddenly meditate, and then suddenly pop, the vision of all, the concept of Four Noble Truth comes in. It's not in that sense. Seeing here, that means it is not by the sense of thinking about it, but actually penetrating it. So some yogis, maybe Arya yogis, they could able to see this Four Noble Truth as a set of knowledge. And Four Noble Truth is being taught in that way also because that truth also, when it's presented to the person or presented to the yogi, the Arya yogi here, is also being presented as first one as dukkha, second one as this, third one as this, the fourth one as this. Because it comes in reality, it comes in presented in that way. When the yogi sees it also, it sees it in that way. That's why you see these Four Noble Truths are also found in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, or in the Satipatthana Sutta. The Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the Buddha elaborated more. The Satipatthana Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya is a bit more shorter. It doesn't have so much of explanation. But why does it that, again here, why does it that the Four Noble Truths too are also as an object for the Satipatthana? Just like your Kaya Nupassana, then you have these elements, or you have this Anapana, it falls under Satipatthana, Kaya Nupassana. Whereas you have these three types of feelings. The three types of feelings are painful feelings, pleasant feelings, equanimous feelings, neither pleasant nor painful. Then it falls under the second Satipatthana. And the third Satipatthana, you have a different states of citta. The citta with greed, the consciousness with greed, consciousness without greed, consciousness with anger, without anger, and so on. So here in the fourth Satipatthana, here we have 5 aggregates. We have 5 aggregates, we have 6 senses, and then we got these 4 Noble Truths also. So here the 4 Noble Truths actually can be seen by the yogi as a set of knowledge, as a set of insight. So it's not just anything that you just want to present it out, but it actually can be seen by the yogi themselves. Not just only the Buddha, but the yogi themselves actually can see it. But of course, in the beginning part of the development, seeing these 4 Noble Truths, of course, you weren't able to see all of them yet. First, you will see this first Noble Truth and the second Noble Truth, yes. Maybe the third Noble Truth also, yes. But the fourth Noble Truth, perhaps, yes. Then the third Noble Truth, of course, you cannot yet because you haven't reached the Aryahood yet, haven't reached the noble path yet. So it needs that. The third Noble Truth, and you see the third Noble Truth, then for some yogis, this come as a single knowledge. I said here for some yogis, some Arya yogis, because some Arya yogis may not have that ability to see them as a set of knowledge. And why is that the distinction is there? Why some Arya yogis can able to see that, and why some Arya yogis cannot able to see that? They do see all this, and they of course, even all these yogis, they seen the nibbana, they seen dukkha, they seen, but kind of like sporadic here and there. It's not as a set of knowledge. Whereas for certain yogis, you can able to see it as a set of knowledge. That one, because of some yogis, their wisdom factor is much more powerful compared to others. So this is how, when we talk about Four Noble Truths, why are they four and so on? Is because it is a knowledge, it is insight. It's a kind of an insight overall. When you say insight here, don't just thinking of just 16 insight knowledge and so on. We are talking much more than that. Much more than that. I think we are looking into various aspect of penetration that a yogi can actually see. Not only just, for example, not only just this Four Noble Truths. If you could actually see these five, let me see, the five hindrances. Also in the Satipatthana also mentioned the five hindrances. When you say five hindrances, usually what you do is that here sometimes you have restless mind, and then after that you deal with, later on you deal with sloth and torpor, and then after you meditate a while you deal with desire, and then after a while you deal with this one. Some, of course, most of us do that. But again, these five hindrances also, if in a more deeper level of experience, then it will show you as a set of knowledge where it comes five together in a slightly different time. Then you see that the whole thing as one, as a set of knowledge. So this is something a little bit more deeper. But anyway, I mean, back to this Four Noble Truths is that now, as I said, when we say the word able to be seen by the noble disciples and also the noble ones and also the Buddha, Pacceka Buddha, is because of that they can able actually see it as a knowledge, not just something that they think about it. Now, so now these talks here, we're going to talk about, I mean, a bit more things. As I said, this is not Sunday morning, Sunday school morning Dhamma talk. Talk about Four Noble Truths and things like that. We're going to look into it in the sense, as I said, where it's going to be very helpful for the yogi. Helpful in the sense that when you meditate, certain experience arises. Then, because of you heard the talks or you have read it before, then sometimes with that theoretical knowledge that you may have, then when you actually go to practice, then that thing, the knowledge and what you are observing, at certain point of time, it begins to click. It begins to click, and then you kind of like understood what you are seeing, what you are noticing. Because a lot of times when we go through the path of vipassana, we do not know what we are looking at. We know it, we are looking at something. We know that our mind is clear, the mind is penetrative, but hamilai, what is that? You do not know what is it. You can explain of it, which is wonderful, which is, if you're able to do that, it really can bring you all the way to nibbana already. But with the added bonus, with the added value added experience, in the sense that sometimes a certain Dharma concept that able to connect with that experience, then it enrich the observation. Not only enrich the observation, it brings about joy to the particular yogi. It brings about joy to the yogi, the Dhamma experience in that sense. Because right now, what he read and what he experienced, they comes together, which is wonderful actually. So not all the time it happens in that way, not all the time, but sometime. But when sometimes happen, of course, the yogi must not be too preoccupied with the Dhamma concept here. All this Dhamma concept here, don't be too attached to them. It will connect with you, but then all you need to do is that make sure that you back again to the noting experience. Back again to observe what is happening, rather than trying to flip back to the past and flip back to the books mentally, and then try to recall so many things. That will become a hindrance. Just enough for you to bring some joy and then put those aside. Bring that joy together with the practice, and then it push the practice further. So it makes the vipassana not so dry. If it makes the vipassana very alive and it's very enriching, even intellectually and also on the actual spiritual developmental level. So now, when we look at Four Noble Truths, each and every of them, they have I would say, call it a main principle, a main theme, that you have to keep that in mind. To keep that in mind, a main theme, a four part of it, because of the Four Noble Truths. The first one, dukkha. The dukkha here is to be fully understood. Dukkha here, the first principle here connected with the dukkha, it's to be fully understood. To be fully understood here means that you have to see them as they really are. What it means here. Not just understood in the sense of theoretical understanding, but fully penetrated in the sense that you see the dukkha in many aspects. Because some of us, when we talk about Four Noble Truths, especially on the dukkha, our mind is so narrow in the sense that dukkha means pain here, pain there, pain everywhere. Meditate here, pain there, pain, go back, pain, working also pain, working also dukkha, staying here, locked down also dukkha. If you think of that dukkha, not to say that you are wrong, but if you think that dukkha is just that, then the mind is so narrow on it. Dukkha has much more wider than what you think it is. And then with the days coming, we can talk about it a little bit more. So the first one is to be fully understood, to see it as they really is. Talking about it now, is to see it as they really are, or to be fully understood in the sense that you pay attention to it and you see them as they are. But when it comes into a practice, many yogis, especially in the beginning part of the yogi experience, they are not seeing it as they really are. You just don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. More like you in a certain sense, you can hate it also. And at a certain sense, you can be fearful of it also. So you may not all the time like what you see on but the nature of this first noble truth is to see them as they really are. Just to give you a simple understanding, when it comes with the pain, pain is part of the Four Noble Truth. Whether it's physical pain or mental unpleasant feelings arises in the mind. Then when it arises, say for example, unpleasant things like maybe you recall back past incidences, and then those incidences give rise to a lot of sadness, a lot of anger, and you want to keep it there. You don't want to see it. So when it springs up, you don't want to see them as they are. You just want to cover it up. I don't want to see it. For most of us, we do like that. We don't want to see all these things. Although we may read again and again, dukkha here is to be fully understood. But no, we don't want that. We want it to disappear as much as possible. So too with with many of the yogis also, especially in the beginning when they have pain arises in their buttock, in their leg, and when they cramp here, cramp there, pulling here, hot. Everything which is unpleasant on the body, they don't want to see it. They just want to get out of it. So even the first noble truth, it's difficult for us to see because the mind keeps running away. So here, the first noble truth here is to be fully understood. That means is to be seeing it as they really are. The word seeing as they really are is a direct experience. You see or you notice it as it is. But when it comes to the practice, actual practice is the surrounding your experiences on all those concepts that surrounding those actual experiences will become very also intense and very clear, in the sense that you are more interested in all the thinking part rather than the seeing part, which I already just now earlier on give you an example, meaning that some people they supposed to notice the changes in the body or the mind, how it changed and how it pulling, but they're more interested in the concept, the theoretical aspect of it. They're more interested in those things. So every time they see a little bit, they're more interested in those things. So to ask you to see the thing as they are, but be more interested to intellectualize the whole experience of what is really going on. So therefore, we get caught into it. It's very easy. There's another one which is very, very frequent. A yogi will also for example, when it comes into the thinking mind, when it comes into a restless mind, I say when the restless mind, you don't fall into its content. You don't fall into its story. You fall into the story, you get sadness, you get all the desire, you get all kinds of everything what comes up. So when you fall into the story, you go into the concept. If you come out of the story and see the consciousness, see the thinking consciousness that is occurring right now, that's happening. It arises, it passes away, it changing, it getting faster, clearer, not so clear. And you see that its characteristics, you see the nature of the restless mind rather than the story of the restless mind. Then, therefore, you begin to see things as they really are. So as seeing things as they really are is easy to quote now, but when actually all of us go into a meditation practice, somehow or another we will hopefully once in a while we fail, And we expect you to fail also because we are not enlightened. But it's good that we must know where to come back, which object to come back, where to settle on what object and not to attach to any of those objects. Even you know it right now, tomorrow you practice or you go into any retreat, you're going to do the same thing. So your job is to know yourself, come back to the actual seeing things as they really are. Yeah? So the first noble truth here is to see them as is to fully understood. Yeah? The second noble truth here, the origin of dukkha. Yeah? The origin of dukkha here, of course, is the craving. And the second noble truth here, the theme here is eradicating or abandoning. Eradicating or abandoning. Yeah. So after all, they are the cause for all the dukkha to arise. So therefore, is the eradication of this craving. Yeah. So the second one, we're going to look into it also. We're going to look into the various types of, later on other talks, we're going to look into various types of wrong view that is connected with the three different types of craving. How certain wrong view belongs to that, certain wrong view belongs to that. Yeah. Interesting to know, you know? Interesting to know. At least you don't fall into those type of traps later on. So second one is to eradicate, or the eradication, full eradication finally. Yeah? Now the third one, nibbana here, is realization. Yeah. They use the word realization, and then the Pali word realization here. Here is, you use the word realization because sometimes some teachers explain that nibbana is already there. It's not that something is not something there and then poof, it comes up, you know. No, it's already there. It's neither permanent or impermanent. You cannot say whether it's permanent or impermanent. It's already there. When you say it's there, also it's not particularly correct. You know? Now here in the third noble truth is the realization of it. The realization of it, when we talk about some 1 or 2 talks ago, as I said, during the Q&A, I think so. During the Q&A, I mentioned that it's the path consciousness. During the path consciousness, one, it do the eradication of the latent defilements so that in the future they will not arise again. But the second one of the path, its second function also, as because it is a consciousness, it also takes an object. Now here that takes an object, it takes nibbana as an object. Yeah? It takes also nibbana as an object. And then the friction consciousness also, that
sorry, Reverend. Reverend, you need to unmute again. Sorry, Reverend.
oops.
Sorry.
Okay, can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. All right, good.
Yeah.
Now, as I said again, here the path consciousness and the friction consciousness here, they do not create nibbana. It's just that when the path consciousness arises and the friction consciousness arises, it realizes nibbana or it sees nibbana. Just that. It doesn't create it. So that's why we use the word to realize nibbana. Yeah? So in other words, they say nibbana is already there. There is kind of like inverted comma, you know? Because the way how we view nibbana we view it as a 5 aggregates. Because we haven't experienced Nibbana before. So we will view it from the way of 5 aggregates, whereas Nibbana is completely the opposite of the 5 aggregates. So that also we're going to talk about that on the aggregates, maybe on the first noble truth too. Then the fourth noble truth. So the third noble truth is realization. The fourth noble truth is development. Full development, in other words. Full development here means that all this Noble Eightfold Path, beginning from the right view until the right concentration. Now, here is to be fully developed. Fully developed here means that all these qualities of the mind, which is like for mindfulness, concentration, effort, sila. Even sila is not just your action or verbal thing. It's also to do with a lot to do with the mind too. So all these things has to be fully developed. So here, the fourth noble truth is to be fully developed. We're going to see all these four noble truths. So it's going to take us some time before we can finish this four noble truth. So the first one is to fully understood. Second one is to fully eradicate. Third one is to fully realize. And the fourth one is to be fully developed. Here's the theme. This is the principle of the Four Noble Truth. Now, again here, when we look at this Four Noble Truth, we want you to look at it from a different perspective. Later in a screen sharing, I will show you there are 16 ways, 16 perspectives of how we can able to look at the Four Noble Truths. And it's good, actually, is to understand, at least theoretically, how this Four Noble Truth is being experienced by a yogi or different yogis. How this experience of dukkha or experience of the craving is being experienced by the yogis. And sometimes you also will be, when you will also gain those experience in the sense that as you progress along, the way how, let's say, dukkha will present to you in a different manner. And they all forms under dukkha, under the umbrella of dukkha. So it's good for us to at least understand some of its theory about how this is being experienced by the yogis. So I'm going to share the screen right now. Can you all see? Hey, cannot. Can you all see? Okay, all right. Now here, the first one, the dukkha's meaning of oppressing. Here you see each noble truth. You can look at it being four parts of it. Four parts of it. So second noble truth also, there are four ways of looking at it. Third noble truth, four ways of looking at it. The fourth noble truth also, you can look at it from four ways of it. So altogether 16 here. So now the dukkha here, meaning of oppressing. What is being oppressing here? Oppressing here is what it means by the normal way that how you experience or you think about dukkha. That means it's connected with everything that is painful, unpleasant to you. A mosquito bite you, you have all this lockdown, and you don't like this dukkha here, dukkha there. After that, the arthritis, diabetes, or your high blood pressure, and then your you have problems with your, you quarrel with your husband or your wife or children, those things are oppressing. Yeah? All those things you form under oppressing. Yeah? Of course, also when it comes into the meditation practice, when you experience all the pain, cramps, tension, pulling of the body, and also when you experience the restlessness, and it cannot stop, and you find it so oppressing, so difficult to handle, this is what it means under as oppressing. So this is the normal one, this one. Being formed here, it means that anything that begin to arise. Yeah. Sometimes in a different aspect of meditation, as a slightly different level of meditation, sometimes certain yogi able to notice as the pain is start coming in, but starting the pain is not so painful yet, but the mind is already coming again. You haven't, the pain haven't impacted you, but you already feel the stress already. Yeah. So being formed. But in a deeper experience also, being formed, it become very clear, become much more clearer than just now what I've said. But this is just on the initial level of some yogis, as I said. When the pain arises, they feel very even the pain is not intense yet, but it's starting to get stronger, and then all the fear start coming in, being formed. Burning here means like it's the word itself, burning up. Really, for some people, it feels like this whole body and mind is really burning up, something like that. Changing here, or impermanence here. Now here the word change or impermanence here, meaning that there are many aspects when we go into the deeper practice. You will see that not all dukkha is painful. There will be dukkha that is going to be very pleasant. And you're going to view that you're going to view that pleasantness as something as dukkha. Although at that moment of time, you experience pleasant feelings. Yeah. So that also we're going to talk about it. So not everything you think of dukkha as something pain here, pain there, pain everywhere. You must see it also as even pleasant feelings, even pleasant occasion that you are going through in your practice. That also is dukkha when you penetrate it deeper. So things are changing, things are happening. Those things on a certain level, you will experience it as dukkha. We're going to bring that one into the next talk also. All these things, we're going to bring it to the next talk, and then we're going to put more understanding into it. Yeah? So if you cannot fully understand, you cannot understand all these things yet, don't worry. We're going to remind you again in the coming days, in coming talks. Second one, the origin, meaning of accumulating. Yeah. Accumulate what? Accumulate your karma, accumulate. so that when you accumulate your karma, so that you stay in samsara. Yeah, it stays in samsara. Not necessarily just bring you into hell or into heaven and so on, Of course, there are some really strong greed or strong anger and so on. Of course, they bring you to all these unhappy states of existence. But also, certain craving is just not help you. It just want you to stay in samsara. It will give you happy rebirth. It will give you Deva rebirth. It will give you Brahma rebirth. It will give you human rebirth, but just stay in samsara. Yeah? So accumulating. Source. Here the source means also the origin. How the dukkha arises, then because of that attachment, craving arises. As a bondage, here it means that here it really holds on like a grip, because this bondage here is not, you must not see it as just greed only, because that bondage, it holds on, it clings on to views, it clings on to your pride, it clings on to your way of life, it clings everything. It clings on to so many ways, on your certain belief here and there. So it really clings, bondage in a sense, bond you, pull you. Impeding means that, again here, it impedes your progress. Your progress towards the realization of Nibbana or mental development, impeding. Cessation here means here connected with Nibbana. We're going to talk about that. But when a yogi experiences this cessation, they see it as sometimes as an escape. Escape from what? Escape from dukkha. Escape, that means before they experience Nibbana, they experience a lot of arising, passing away, five aggregates changing and here and there. And then after that, when they experience Nibbana, shortly after, then they find that as if like the mind able to escape out from the five aggregates, from the dukkha, it comes out from there. So how they view Nibbana in such a way. So another way is to see it as seclusion. To see it as seclusion means that the mind, when you realize the nature of Nibbana here, the mind does not feel any defilements around it. Does not feel any defilements around it. That means it's free from all these defilements. Any form of latent defilements, nothing there. Secluded. Unformed and deathlessness, these two are in a way connected, in the sense that they are opposite of the five aggregates. Five aggregates here, when you pay attention to the nature of mind and body, when a person goes in the deeper aspect of vipassana, they see this arising and passing away incessantly. It cannot stop. You pay attention to the mind, it also arises and passes away. You notice the body too, it arises and passes away. No matter you sit down, you walk, you sit, it shows you in many ways it arises and passes away. So here, arising and passing away here means when there's arising and passing away, that means there are still five aggregates around. So if there's no arising, that means there's unformed. There's no arising. If arise, it forms a certain thing and then passes away. Here, it does not form, unformed. That means there's the five aggregates does not arise. And because there's no five aggregates arises, there's no passing away. Deathlessness is deathless in that sense. So a lot of times the Buddha used the word one of the sutta use the word beating the drum of deathlessness. The next one, path here. Path here means an outlet. And you develop the mind, you use the mind and use that mind, develop state of mind so that you can able to arise to get out of this samsara. As an outlet, like a drainage outlet, it flows out from somewhere. So here, outlet here means it flows out from the bondage of samsara. It flows out into nibbana. Cause here means that cause in a sense, again here in a inverted sense, means that when you develop the mind, then you can able to see nibbana. You're able to see the nature of nibbana. Seeing here, the word seeing here means the mind that is able to notice it, able to see it. Now here we're going to look into it also later on in the other talks, that the Noble Eightfold Path is what, when we talk about the noting mind, when you note an object, when you pay attention, or a single moment of you see an object, not the sake of, you talk about you sit there 1 hour, you do 1 day, or you do 10 days retreat or 2 weeks retreat. We're not talking about, we're talking just one moment. Just one moment, let's say here 1 second. Yeah. If you have that 1 second and truly pay attention to that object, that means here, the Noble Eight, I can't say noble yet, because you haven't reached the nobility yet. But the 8 factors, the 8 factors are there in the noting, in a single noting. And then because of that noting, you repeat it again and again and again and again for countless and countless of time. Then it builds up. All this factor builds up. It's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So seeing here, it's also when we use the word noting here, noting then, not. This is part of whole thing. Maybe we talk about that a little bit more later on. Another talk, other days. Predominance here means that they are these qualities. These qualities, they are the predominant, so that they will lead you out of nibbana. Finally, predominant in that sense. So we're going to bring this again. We're going to look into all these things again later on, in other talks to come. So tonight is just to give you an overall perspective on how we're going to look into the Four Noble Truths, and how the ways how we can understand, and hopefully also it makes our practice becomes much more deeper in the future. All right. So it's already 10 o'clock. Then we stop here for tonight.